This video is designed to review with you the basics of a change in the quantity supplied. We begin with our basic supply curve. The supply curve could be for any product, but in this case it's going to be for apples. At our initial price of P1, producers of apples are willing to supply Q1 quantity. It's not particularly important to us what P1 and Q1 are specifically. They simply serve as starting points. If the price of apples were to rise to, say, P2, which we again denote with an arrow, producers of apples would have a greater incentive to make more and would now supply Q2 quantity. In other words, as the price of the item itself rises, producers are willing to supply more. If, on the other hand, the price of apples were to fall to, say, P3, which we again note with a correctly labeled price and an arrow, producers of apples would only be willing to sell Q3, which we can see is lower than our original Q1. In other words, as the price of apples falls, apple suppliers have less incentive and therefore are willing to supply less. The logic of a change in the quantity supplied is often difficult for students to grasp because we're used to behaving like buyers. We naturally think of high prices as a bad thing and low prices as a good thing. But for suppliers, the reverse is true. As a seller, we enjoy high prices and seek to sell more. We hate low prices and therefore want to sell less. When in doubt, think about yourself as a supplier of labor. If you currently are paid a wage of P1 and per week supply Q1 hours of labor, if your boss were to offer you double time to come in on the weekend, raising your wage to P2, you would supply more hours of labor, Q2. If, on the other hand, your boss were to cut your wage, it's very likely you'd find alternate things to do rather than go to work, reducing your quantity of labor supplied to Q3. So for a change in the quantity supplied, we simply slide along the existing supply line when the price of that item changes.